Hi guys, Ant from UK Fountain Pens here. I wanted to give you a little tour of this, but specifically the nib inside. This is the Nouveau Blue Esterbrook SD, and as you can see, it is a rather interesting and I think lovely blue resin with cracked ice in it and mixtures of what looks like a sort of clay red in it. It's got a lovely vintage vibe to it. I think it's dark and sober enough to be work appropriate, as opposed to say this lovely Bennu here. And I think it's a lovely colour, really shown off by the graceful trimless torpedo shape of the SD. Every time I write about SD, I'm very aware that there's been backlash against their marketing approach online, and I feel like I need to justify why I like these pens. I think when you see them on paper, you think, well, this is just a plastic Jobo, cartridge converter. What's new, and why is this worth a slight premium over some other pens in the market at 150 or more pounds? I think there's a couple of features that do that. It's got this sprung cap, which closes very solidly and means there's no drying out. But what you really notice is when you hold it in your hands, it just feels like a solid, very well built pen. These are turned pens, not cast. The resin is beautifully polished. The clip is centered. The Esterbrook branding is filled in with white and really nice. And every single nib I've ever had from them, and that's a lot, has been perfect out of the box in all different grades. These are pens that perform really well. There is nothing wrong with them at all. And that is, it should be taken for granted, but you can't always rely on it happening. The threads are square cut. There's these trim rings to hold it all together and make sure nothing cracks. And it's a very comfortable pen to hold and use. It does post if you want. I've never felt the need to. So I like these pens. I like them a lot. I bought this one with my own money. As you may see, I've got silver trim on this pen and I've got a gold nib in here. And that is because this is the new needlepoint from Kirk Speer of Pen Realm. Esterbrook has worked with Gina and to get the original stub nib option out. There was the architect grind that I tried not that long ago. And this is the third in their series of working with Nibmeisters to do a specialist nib offering, which I think is wonderfully authentic to the old Esterbrook brand with its huge range of nibs. This one is my favourite yet, although I say that without having tried the stub one. This is a needlepoint. As you can see, the line is slightly wider than a Platinum EF, or indeed it's about the same as the Platinum Soft Fine, but it is noticeably narrower than a Mont Blanc 149 Extra Fine or the Lamy 2000 Extra Fine. This nib, I don't know whether you can hear the noise of that. It's not scratchy. You can run right with it in quickly in any direction. You can see a little bit of the shimmer, the reflection of the wet ink on the paper there. This is not a dry nib. It's usable reversed. It's usable but a bit more scratchy at a very high angle and very usable at a low angle. This nib is, for a needlepoint, very accessible. I've used a lot of needlepoints. You can't always rely on that. And it's one of the nicest tuned needlepoints I've ever used out of the box. So very impressed. You won't, it's not like an FP Nibs XXXF, but what you do get here is a nice, truer than Extra Fine that is usable by anybody without worrying about your handwriting. Now, whether you can see just in the video here, this is ground down from the top, up from the bottom, and in from the sides using a fine as a base, not an EF. And so it's a very pretty grind when you look at it under a loupe. I think I'm not sure actually what the upweight in cost is on this over a normal nib, but whatever it is, I think you're getting great value for money. This is one of the nicest custom ground nibs that I've seen in a while. And to do this at scale, a needlepoint can be tricky to do. To do this at scale, that Esterbrook will need, I think Kirk is doing a marvellous job. and I'm certainly going to keep this nib in my collection, even though it doesn't look great on this silver trimmed pen. So I think ST's doing some great stuff. Some of the colours that were at the show, London Pen Show, recently were maybe not my taste, but pushing into new areas of the colour spectrum that certainly some of the people I was wandering around the show with loved. So do keep an eye out on some of those new releases, and when this needlepoint hits general availability, I'd advise you to jump on one and get one. It's a really good nib. So that's me, and from UK Fountain Pens. Thanks for watching.